Hello, everybody. Welcome to Serani Sembang, our very third program of this world live webcast coming to you from my home here in Kuala Lumpur. And it's really, really wonderful to be able to do this for our community, our Serani community, which is the Serani Eurasian Kristang, multifarious, multicultural, multiracial, polyglot community of mixed race people with European ancestry here and all over the world. Very happy to be here. And this is, of course, our third show, as I mentioned. And I've got a lot of guests who are very interesting because the theme of this week's show is based on the fact that today is July the 4th, which is American Independence Day. And here to help me bring the show to life with you is my co-host, Brian.
Hello.
How are you, Brian?
Hello. Today, good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And the thing is, it's kind of timely to have you on the show because you have an American connection.
Yes.
Right? You want to explain? You want to explain to us what your American connection is?
This. I married one. Well, I mean, he's half American.
Right. Yeah. So you have a quarter American son.
Quarter, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your connection to the American Independence Day happening. I hope you cooked up some hot dogs today and got all your fireworks all lined up. Anyway,
we actually don't know what to eat yet. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do over here. Send something to grab food, maybe, huh? Okay. And I'm gonna bring in one of our special guests for this evening. Very special lady. Yep. Whom I'm very, very pleased to have her with us. She's an academic, a scholar, and a cultural activist. And her name is Professor Stephanie Shamala Pillay. Hi, Prof.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so, well, Prof, we are having you in to talk about American English versus British English,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then we're going to segue into various other things that you're doing with regards to the Kristang community, which I think is so important. Yeah.
That's
okay,
right.
So wonderful. Would you like to say anything before we bid you see you later?
Don't go away and stay to the end because I'm coming right at the end. So
yeah, with a lot of fun going in between.
Self-promo.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Prof. We'll see you later.
See you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay. So there we have it, Prof. Stephanie Pillay, whose mother is Da Costa Lewis. Joining us and talking about American English versus British English, and then segueing into Malaysian English, and then segueing into Kristang and the work that she's been doing. So a lot of wonderful stories to hear from Professor Stephanie later on. But for now, Anne,
yes,
is your American guy ready to come on?
Yes.
So that we can still
is ready.
So we can still party on this American Pie party of ours. Okay.
He's inhaling some oxygen.
He's inhaling that kind of oxygen. Okay, I get it.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Mark Eric Ruffin. But we know you as Eric, right? So let me see if I can remember where I put your PowerPoint so we can bring that on. Serani by marriage. So just to key people into what we're doing here is basically Serani Sembang started as a family tree website, right? And so now the Serani Sembang webcast, which is a pivot from genealogy and ancestry, pivoting into what you could say is the latest technology of webcasting, live webcasting, right? I also, once again, will call on family to help me in the early days. and then maybe we will together, be able to actually build a community of doers who will then do various other webcasting things, either through Serani Sembang Webcast or through various their own little, expeditions. Yeah. So here we have for our second guest, Eric Ruffin and Anne. Tell us how the two of you met.
We met.
We met in 2006
Right.
at a bar.
Okay, which bar was this?
Asian Heritage Road back in the days. What was the place called? Sina. I think it's no longer there.
Okay. So this half Yank comes up to you. Did you know that he was American or that he was Malaysian? Did you think he was some sleazy foreigner?
He looked more white than now.
Okay. He looked more white than now. Okay.
Yeah,
So he's tan.
he looked more mixed.
Okay. So then he comes up to you and he sees the Serani girl
Actually, I went up to him.
Wow! Power, girl, power. and
Yeah.
And you said hello.
My friend pulled us together because I was eyeing him. He always came with, at the time I think it was December.
I you. Eric.
He came with a Santa hat.
Okay. Wow. And so you remember. You should be moved, right? Eric? Okay, so here we go with your American Malay and Serani by marriage. Okay. I will move the slide along.
Yeah.
Because, and I mentioned earlier on, I need to put that ticker tape on. Yeah. I'm gonna show this. Okay. Interviews Brian's American Malay husband, Mark Eric Ruffin, about his ancestry to American slave owners. Yep. He's connected to slave owners in America. Yeah, very kind of like timely, right? And I'm going to show a picture. Tell us about this ancestor of yours, Eric.
This is my great grandfather, Edmund Ruffin, and he was he had a plantation. So he was a slave owner, and he was also the first guy to shoot in the Civil War. So
according to the
Confederates.
Yes, in the Wikipedia entry, because he's a Wikipedia entry, and that's where I got the picture from, right? Your ancestor, Edmund Ruffin, was the man who fired the first shot that started the American Civil War. Now, isn't that infamy? I mean, to the hilt.
Yep.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't do anything, so I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it. How does it make you feel?
It's nothing to be proud of.
Right. But it's nothing to be ashamed of either, right?
Yeah. I mean, he did some stuff with agriculture, so it worked out in another way.
Yes. I mean, like quite a colorful. I mean, talk about checkered past. He has been proclaimed as the father of soil science.
Yep.
Right, in America. So if you look for Edmund Ruffin on the on Wikipedia, you will find out so many quite interesting things about this gentleman. The man who fired the first shot that started the Civil War. He was a slave owner, and he also was the father of soil sciences in the USA. Very interesting.
And he also shot himself.
And there's a lot of shooting that goes on in your family, right?
Yes. Next will be my father.
Yeah.
This is my father.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about your father.
Early 20s. He worked for my father, my grandfather, selling weapons around the world. My grandfather had a weapons factory called Mekar.
Okay. So he was an arms dealer in a sense.
Yeah, legally.
A legal arms dealer, right?
Legal.
Like I think it's okay because I think Francis Light, the gentleman who played a part in forming the Serani community up in Penang. I mean, he was an arms dealer too, and he was a drug smuggler, if I may say so as well. So
Yeah.
so you're in fine company.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll move along to the next slide.
Yeah.
The next slide shows us. Tell us the story about this one.
So this is my dad having I think it was a weapons expedition, expo, and that is Dr. Mahathir, who was the prime minister at the time, and he asked my dad, "Why is the cannon pointing at his UMNOR building?" And my dad said, "If we turned it the other round, it'll be facing your portrait." So in the end, he just smiled. He just smiled and walked away.
Okay, very good. Yeah, good rebuttal to Mahathir's cheeky little question, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, and the next one. Okay, here he is with, what is the gun that he's using?
Well, he's using if I'm not mistaken, it's an M16, and the company which my dad worked for my grandfather, they sold these like bullet grenade launchers. So he's testing them out, and this is how he met my mom. He went to Taiping,
right?
Basically showing the army how to use the weapons which he was selling, and yeah, after 2 weeks they got married.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely! After 2 weeks, wow, quite a whirlwind romance happening there then. Yeah, very nice. And where was your mother from? Which part of Malaysia was she
Well,
from?
my mom's from Alustar, north in Kedah, and she was staying with her uncle in Taiping.
Okay. She was singing with her uncle in Taiping.
No, staying.
Staying. Oh, that's singing. Okay, she was staying with her uncle in Taiping. Okay, and that's and they met in Alustar?
No, they met in Taiping. My mother's from Alustar, but she was working in Taiping.
Okay. Yeah, moving right along. Okay, now this is I mean, like the Ruffins seem to have a very, very interesting checkered kind of like a life, you know? Okay, tell us about this.
Well, this is my dad's band. It's called the Bone Shakers, and his stage name is Johnny Coma. And my dad plays music in Malacca.
Right. Which explains how you yourself became a musician, right?
Yeah, he was always giving me a guitar for my birthday from the age of 13. So in the end, I played.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's Dad. And that's Dad. As
Santa Claus.
As Santa Claus. He's always Santa Claus every year.
Yeah, I mean, he's built for it, isn't he?
Yeah.
And here is the rocker in your dad. Wow.
Yeah, so he plays a lot of blues and rock and roll.
This is Johnny Coma. And the Bone Shakers, right?
Bone Shakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And does he still play? He lives in Malacca right now, right?
Yeah, he was playing until COVID came along.
Oh, okay. So very much a working musician, kind of. I mean, like, you know, regular appearances. Do you know the venue where he plays? So maybe our Serani folk in Malacca can go check him out and tell him that he's been all over the internet.
he used to play at Sid's bar, but Sid's closed down already. So he's not playing anywhere at the moment.
Okay, and this is where you come into your own. At what age are you here?
I think 17 or 18, and this is my band Prana, and this was in Stadium Nagara. This was our third show.
Prana.
The band was Prana. It's your third show. You're 17 or 18, and you're already playing at the Stadium Merdeka.
Yeah, our first show was in front of 20 people. Our second show was in front of 500, and our third show was in front of 10,000.
Yeah, it sounds like the way I'd like to take this webcast. At the moment, we're like what, 30 people, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, you inspire me, Eric. You inspire me. And this is
And this after the show, we got a record deal with no NSR.
okay.
So they signed us, and this was our first album.
Okay, Prana. And is this what year was this again?
This would be 1999 or 2000.
Okay, 20 years ago. And so this would be a collector's edition by now, right? Is it
Yeah,
available? The music could people actually check into the music? I mean, is it available on YouTube?
Yeah, you can go YouTube and just put Prana, and you should get some songs.
Right. Does Prana still exist? I mean, like, a
No.
different manifestation of.
Our last show was 2016, and most of our band members are from overseas. My guitarist is from Philippines, but he's in Kenya now, and my bassist is from Chile.
Okay, so a bunch of guys got together, did pretty well on a music scene from all around the world, and then dispersed after making your millions, your first millions.
No millions.
No millions. Okay. And this.
This is me. This is me and Emmett. He is the singer for Butterfingers. He's famous. He's more famous than I am.
Okay.
So that's us together. I think this was in some other stadium.
Right. Some other stadium when you both performed, when you both took to the stage.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you do now.
So now, I've been teaching English for about 13 years now.
Okay.
And I also I'm a coins dealer. I buy and sell gold and silver coins. So if anybody wants to sell or wants to know about something, you can contact me.
And apparently you've got a website, or a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. It's called Silver Ruffin.
It's called Silver Ruffin, and I found it really very interesting. I'm not sure whether I will be able to play it. Maybe I shouldn't even try because of so many technical hiccups, and I'm not sure whether people are able to follow with us. So just look out for Silver Ruffin on YouTube. Correct?
Yep.
And we'll get to, because I actually had lined up, right, one of your episodes, and it's a Eurasian episode. At least I think it's a Eurasian episode and should be included in our webcast. Yeah, go on.
It's Kyrgyzstan, so they're Eurasian.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about, because every YouTube episode you concentrate on one country and you feature the coins, because you're a coin dealer, right?
Yeah.
From an arms dealer to a coins dealer. Not bad. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this picture is the three generations, my dad, me, and my little boy.
Yep. So then we have the American, which is why Eric is on this show, because his father is blue-eyed. Is he blue-eyed? Blue-eyed American.
Yeah, blue-eyed and blonde.
Here in Malaysia. And Eric is first generation American Malaysian. So which makes him kind of like Serani. And then he marries my cousin Anne, who's there sitting with him, Brian, Jasmine area. And they have little Isa Alexander Ruffin, right?
Yeah.
Who is a third generation Ruffin in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So he's 1/4 American. So this is the reason why we are here celebrating with you, your heritage.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's it, right? On this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for joining us and telling us your story. But it's very interesting how I can count in my own family, because Brian is my first cousin. that I have connections to slave owners in America and arm dealers and rock and rollers and
Coin deal.
I don't know, coin dealers. So yeah, so therein lies the family connection. Thank you very much. I would like to wish you a happy Independence Day, and thanks for coming along.
No problem.
Okay. Thanks, Eric. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Anne. Well, thank you for sharing your husband with us.
No problem.
I mean,
Anytime.
it's quite interesting, isn't it? How we all have stories, and when I asked you if Eric would like to be on the show, I suddenly remembered. I remember him telling me that his great grandfather was involved in the Civil War and a slave owner and all that. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, so we'll take a short break and come back with we're going to speak with somebody who's based in Langkawi. His name is James Roselles, and I'm going to play a little bit of our promo and then come back with him. Might take a while because I can see that he's got somebody else's name on his caption.
Okay.
So, but never mind. Yeah, I'll come back. But here's a promo, and just give us some time. Okay, here we are back. I managed to change James Rosell's, and I need to take out that ticker tape. So here we are on American Independence Day, right here in Malaysia, and we decided we'll just have a theme for every week of the show. And because it's Independence Day, we decided to have this theme called America Through Serani Eyes, right? And the person that I'm going to invite onto the show is a very famous musician, and he's also the creator of an event that I worked on for several years, which I was very proud to have been associated with, because I thought it really raised the bar in terms of Serani entrepreneurialism. You know, in that it featured all the people who were doing Serani type things in Penang, and was called the Eurasian Fiesta. So James, I see you a little bit like off camera, and I want to bring you on. So yeah, okay, now you're back. So here you go, Mr. James Roselles.
Yes, hi Vernon. Hi, Anne, is it?
Hi.
Hi, Anne.
Yes, you can call me Anne.
Can I? Okay.
Welcome to Serani Sembang, the World Live Webcast.
Glad to be on it. I think Serani Sembang is something you have created something fantastic. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and it was created 20 years ago with, it was one idea that had the support of the community. You know, it wouldn't have happened if I did not have the support of many other people, and it's all a community thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry if I compare Serani Sembang to the Eurasian Fiesta, but I want to say that we created waves. You created waves through your Serani Sembang, and we created waves through Eurasian Fiesta. Through its simplicity, you know, the simple. There's no political, no governmental involvement. It was just plain, simple Eurasians chit-chatting. So in all its simplicity, even from the Eurasian Fiesta, you remember, it was something very simple. It was, we had Eurasian food, we had Eurasian music, musicians, and I said, let's have a party. And that's it, you know. And as the years went by, political problem, this thing came in, and it all, and today's a mess, you know. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But I just said that we created waves in its simplicity, the simple concepts of it. Okay, sorry.
And No, don't be sorry, because I think what you're expressing is something very very important and close to my own heart, because the intent was there to bring the community together, and
That's right.
I guess you could say other people decided they had other plans, and unfortunately, yeah, what can I say? It's kind of like difficult to try and express how I feel about certain things, but
how
you
we
know,
how we feel about it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I just said we have, I think in a way both created something very simple because of its simplicity. They're using the
simple
simple things
intent.
yeah.
Simple intent of just wanting to get together
That's
and
right.
have fun creating stuff. Yeah,
Maybe like
and
yeah, the simple things like you're trying to say, you share photographs, you share stories, chit chat, and okay, we share tracing our family backgrounds. The simple things there. There's no other agenda in there.
correct. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
as I
yeah,
said, just
yeah.
like the Eurasian Fiesta, we had fantastic Eurasian food, which I've always wanted to promote to the other communities and the Eurasian musicians and all that. And
Yeah.
that's it. Let's have a party. Have a beer, have beers, have food, have music, have a dance floor, and you party the whole night. That's the Eurasian.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
that is.
you're going to have a Eurasian fiesta in Langkawi, where you are based now, right?
No,
Come on,
I
let's get
moved
it
to
going.
I moved to Langkawi because I want to forget all this mess in there. I'm here to create something new, which I think my
Okay.
passion is in this healthcare and healing using herbs and things like that. I've got I'm starting a farm and also
Wow.
so it's a new it's a new goal. It's a new dream. The past. I try to forget, but I try to keep
Yep.
in touch with people like you who are doing something really for the community.
Okay, I want to
So
ask you. You've had your finger on the pulse of the music scene,
okay.
from day one of your, I think, working life, right? And you still perform, and in light of the fact that it is American Independence Day, that is the theme of our show. I want to ask you, what is it about American country and Western music that seems to have such a hold on our Serani community? Country and Western music. My father
Oh,
was a yodeler, I remember him
okay.
yodeling. I mean, like,
Yeah.
uh, when I think about it, I mean, like, it seems like as though Serani Eurasian boys growing up, one of their
Yeah.
biggest ambitions was to become like John Wayne or become a cowboy hero, or. Can you share with us what is it about westerns and country and Western music, American country and Western music and American westerns? What is it that attracts us Serani folk?
Okay. Back to Eurasian Fiesta. Back to Serani Sembang. Simplicity. Simple.
Okay.
The words are simple. The music is simple. It was
Mm-hmm.
something that you could sing along to. It was something
Yeah.
that you could dance to. It was
Yeah.
something that you could it like as a new budding guitarist, all you
Yeah.
needed were three chords, and with three chords you could play 100 songs. So
Right.
that was country and western. So basically everybody, as you know, most of the musicians there were all self-taught
Okay.
musicians. So
Mm-hmm.
with three chords, my goodness, we could do a show because we could play more than 100 songs. So
Okay.
country and western music, as I say, it's simplicity. The words
Yeah.
were very meaningful. The words were very easy. The songs were easy to play, and basically that's that. I mean, just imagine us starting with Deep Purple or things like that. I don't think we would have got ahead.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
you
So
look at all the musicians. Yeah,
it starts
especially
with simple country and
that's
western
right,
lyrics and chords, and
right.
then you grow from there. And
Yeah,
then
and then you
because
begin to enjoy as your repertoire gets bigger, and there are more artists and all that, no? And your repertoire builds, and everybody takes off from there, I think. Yeah.
okay,
So
cool. What is your favorite country and western song?
the favorite, okay, being
Yeah.
being professional musicians, we
Mhm.
never had favorites. We never had
Okay.
favorite artists because all of them were good. Basically, it's the song. You like the song, you play it. Okay, I have a preference for Johnny Cash. Katie has got preferences for Patsy Cline and Tammy
Patsy
Wynette
Cline. Yeah.
and singers like that. They're because there are so many of them. Yes, so many, even as when the newer ones started coming out, so we also have our favorites. But we are still old sentimentalists. No, we still go back to the
Right.
old
Yeah.
Women songs and
Yeah. The
Cline
classics.
and the classics. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even jazz musicians. I mean, even though there's contemporary jazz, eventually everybody goes back to the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how you look at my kids. All our kids, we never encourage them to get into the music industry, into the music line. All of them are in it, and all of them are full time, and thankfully, all of them are doing well till
Right.
this COVID.
Yeah.
Since
How
the
how are
last
you
6 months.
how are you coping? How are you? What has become of your what have been the strategies you've employed to kind of like survive this pandemic?
We didn't. I basically we basically had to use all our life savings because
Oh
for the
no.
last 6 months, it was not that you could not do it or you were not allowed to do it. And
Right.
especially
Yeah.
in the music line where you
Yeah.
need crowd, you need
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
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 So I think it's not only us. I think one of the most affected ones are the musicians.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
they can't get jobs. Musicians,
Yeah.
of course, in Langkawi here. I know a lot of travel agents and all that. The tourism industry.
Oh, tourism
badly
decimated.
affected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hotels.
Yeah.
Hotels
I've got a couple of
decimated.
friends
Yeah.
who own hotels here, and they basically closed down.
Yeah. Quite sad.
I know a lady who owns a beautiful. Okay, it's a 30-room hotel. Huh? Last 2 weeks they had to close down. Now she's renting out her hotel rooms on a monthly basis because there aren't anybody coming in now.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to take
It's
about
quite.
a year or two. It's going to take about a year or two.
Well, we all got to hang together and try and help
Yeah.
each other out wherever you can. Yeah. So here I am doing this webcast, trying to raise the profile of our Serani community, with the hope that maybe something might happen with regards to an opportunity. Number one, because last week we featured some Serani businesses in Australia as well as in Malaysia, and Singapore as well.
In Singapore, yeah.
Yeah, and next week actually is a music-oriented show which we are planning. This is going to be spearheaded by Carrie Ann, who wants to do something on Paul Augustine. So I'm sure at some point in time we might have you on as well, James. Yeah. Also.
But anyway, looking at the positive side of things, apart from the music, as I said, we have just managed to get access to a piece of land, and I'm spending my time now, getting my plants ready to move in there within the next 3 months. So things are looking very bright. Things are looking very bright. Thank God for that.
Yeah. well, we all got to kind of steel ourselves and think positive and well, do whatever we can. So meanwhile, I have an announcement to make. It is your birthday today.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
300 million, 300 million Americans are celebrating my birthday today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was such a coincidence when I called you up on to find out about whether you'd be on the show and to find out that it's your birthday. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Happy birthday,
Happy
to,
birthday
you.
to you. Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday
you.
to you. Happy birthday, dear
Birthday to
James. Happy birthday
James.
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. How old?
I was
How
just
young,
going to
how
say
young?
28,
28 plus
27,
plus like me.
27, going on 29.
I always say I'm 28 plus plus. Yeah. Anyway, you're looking well, and you're
Thank you.
keeping good, and wish you all the best over in Langkawi. Well, it's the best place to be locked down in, I think, Langkawi, because you've got a beautiful beaches and and great seafood, I
Which are
guess.
basically deserted now.
Yes, so it's very, very tranquil, and hopefully, things will turn around quickly. I think there's a lot of effort being put into domestic tourism, so I'm sure everything will turn out for the better in the not too distant future. Yep, James.
Yeah, no, that's why even I say now we just got letters from the Jabatan Pertanian where they want to encourage urban farming and they're giving incentives and all that. So
Fantastic,
it's,
fantastic.
blessed with what I'm trying to do. So it's I see things are looking bright.
Yeah. You actually started urban farming in Georgetown several years ago. I remember where you turned the back lane into this amazing hanging gardens of Georgetown. I mean, that was excellent. So I'm sure you'll do really, really well in the fertile grounds of Langkawi. I wish you and Kathy all the best and your whole gang there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us and for sharing your insights into American country and Western music and why it strikes a chord, with us Serani people. Thank you very much.
Right.
See you again soon. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
See you, Vernon. And once again, congratulations. All the best. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Means a lot. Thank you very much. Bye. Okay, that was James Roselles. I mean, so much of energy and so much of vision, really. I mean, like when he put together the Eurasian Fiesta, and I went to the first one in I think 2012 or 2013, and I liked what he and Kathy were doing, and I said, can I just jump in and help? And he said, yeah, come. Whatever you want to do, just let me know, and let's see how we can work together. And
you went a few times, right?
Yeah, 3 years. I worked with them over 3 of the fiestas, and it was a lot of fun. And with every fiesta, it grew and grew and grew. And it's kind of like a bit of a shame that somehow he wasn't as appreciated as in establishing something very different and very unique and very of high quality, actually. Yeah. So anyway. Them's the breaks. So we shall move on. We have somebody who we will bring on shortly. But of course, before we do that, we will need to run our promo. Okay? And look who's here with us.
Hi.
How are you, Prof?
I'm good. See, caught me off guard, right? trying to promote, trying to get you more viewers here. Okay.
Yeah. We need scandal. We really need scandal. I feel that I wish that some. So I was hoping to catch you in a scandalous
Oh
situation.
no, my students might be watching. Okay.
It'll be viralized all over the world in no time. Wow. And okay, so here we have with us the very, 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 very approachable, very fun to be around, very energetic, very creative Professor Stephanie Chamala Pillay of University Malaya. Okay, I'm going to and ask
Yes.
Prof a couple of questions while I work out her PowerPoint. Okay.
Okay. So you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh no, I feel like I want a job interview now. Hi everyone.
A
I've been
simple
in-
chit chat.
Simple chit chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Sembang.
Yes.
Hi everyone who's watching. I think my family members and my students better be watching too. Okay, so I have been teaching like for too many years, more than a quarter of a century actually. Started
Yeah.
teaching in schools and then in a school, and then I've been in UM for like more than 25 years now. So yeah, and that's the PowerPoint coming on, I think, so I can stop talking.
What? There's only one question. So you're based here?
Yeah, I'm based in. I'm doing this now in PJ, but I'm based in PJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have with us Professor Stephanie, who is
Yes.
Serani through her matrilineal ancestry. Yeah,
Mhm.
De Costa and Lewis.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to share with us your Serani heritage a little bit, like
Firstly,
which part of
hi,
Malaysia?
Firstly, hi, mom.
Yes.
My mom is like my biggest supporter, so I have to say hi, mom. My mom, Teresa Celine Lewis, she's the Serani one in my Roja ancestry, if you like that. So my mom and me on my first birthday, I think, and my grandmother is the one carrying me, and I'm looking at balloons. I still like balloons, by the way. Yeah, so that's where my ancestry comes from. Where they're from? I think my mother's great grandfather, a maternal great grandfather, lived in Kuala Pilah for the longest time, and my grandfather moved around because he was a teacher and then a school principal. So at one point they were in Kluang and then in Tampin, which is where my parents met. My father is Indian, Malaysian Indian. So yeah, that's kind of like my mixed ancestry, if you like. Yeah. So
Okay, wonderful. And
Yeah.
and what was your kind of like? So you become a professor, which is wonderful. Very few Serani professors around, so we're very proud of you, and of course very proud of the stuff that you do. And you were until recently, right? You were until recently dean of the faculty of languages and linguistics and languages.
Yes,
correct?
that's right. That's right. I
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Then I went off on sabbatical and happily, handed over the job to someone else, to one of my other
Right.
colleagues. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
How
It was.
did-
Sorry. Go ahead.
How did you kind of like find your way into this area of study? What was the impetus?
What, in linguistics? Or
Yeah, in linguistics.
Yeah,
and
that's really interesting because I actually trained to be an English language teacher. So I spent like 6 years in the UK on scholarship, doing my pre-U and my university. So I have a Bachelor of Education in teaching of English, and that's why I ended up teaching in school. And I went back to my old school, MGSKL.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and then I guess I wanted to do more. Maybe should I say this? But I found school a little bit frustrating, because like you couldn't do things like I like drama, I like making a lot of noise, as you say. I like exciting things. I'm not going to sit.
I didn't say you like making a lot of noise. I just said you're. Did I say you're noisy? But yeah.
No.
Yeah, I am. Okay. That's right.
The Serani
Plus
part.
the Indian blood.
Yeah, yeah.
What more can you want? Yeah. I feel the best of both. So yeah, I mean, I thought being in school was just too rigid for me. It just wasn't me. So when I got the opportunity to join UM as a language teacher, because I didn't have my master's, right? I had a BEd, a bachelor's degree. So yeah, I started teaching English in university. And university was a bit more, you could do things. It was more flexible. You could like be more creative and innovative. At least at that time, I'm sure it's different now in schools, but not when I was teaching. So I enjoyed myself as a language teacher, and then I thought I'm at university, so why don't I just do my master's at UM at the faculty, right? So I started doing it part time, and I also did my PhD part time. So I took like the longest time to
Wow.
finish. Yeah, but so it's kind of like then I became a lecturer and I started having an interest in sounds, in phonetics, and so here I am. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, wonderful.
Wow.
And the reason why your name came up with regards to this show, which
Yeah.
is based on America through Serani eyes,
Mhm.
is because I wanted you to talk about American English versus British English. And the reason for this is because English is one of our fortes as a community. We tend to be quite articulate and able to speak English pretty well. And it's what we're supposed to be good at, so to speak, compared to other races. Okay, maybe you can talk a little bit about American English and British English.
Yeah,
And then
Anne's already laughing.
Yeah, American English versus British English. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, first big caveat here. I have never been to America. I've been like practically everywhere, including Africa, but not America. So, whatever I'm saying now,
Oops.
hopefully, it doesn't sort of arrows at me. But yeah, from a linguistic point of view, I mean, obviously, the most kind of prominent difference that we'd hear would be the accent, right? I mean, that's the thing that kind of, if you watch TV, and that's, for those of us who haven't been to America, that's probably like the most contact we've had with America would be through movies, through TV shows, and we can tell from the sounds that we hear that that's one of the more prominent differences between American or British. But nice, I like this slide because I have family members who live in England and who are half British, and it's hilarious because whenever we say, "Oh, let's go buy some," I want to go buy some pants, and they're like, "Pants? I'm not gonna go buy pants with you." And I'm like, "What's wrong? You mean trousers?" and they find it really funny that that even Malaysians say pants rather than trousers. So vocabulary, there are some words, and we're probably not even aware of it until like you encounter those words. I find it strange though that in Malaysia we say the American pants rather than trousers. Considering our kind of British English heritage. But yeah, so vocabulary would be one of the major differences. Pronunciation, as I said, the more kind of prominent pronunciation feature is, of course, the party and the bar. So being erotic rather than and whereas British people don't tend to be erotic, so they would say, "I'm going to the bar."
Bar.
And yes, bar, as opposed to "I'm going to the bar." Okay, and the Malaysians would say, "I'm going to the bar." Okay.
Oh, okay.
Shorten it all out. Yeah. So pronunciation is different, and of course there are some grammatical differences, but because we don't, unless like you're writing academic papers, and I've encountered there, right, where the editor wants American conventions, and it's like correcting your spelling, your color, kicking out the U, and some very subtle grammatical features that probably more in spoken rather than writing. Yeah. So that's I guess the major differences. Yeah.
And then you were you were saying about pronunciation
Yes.
between like potato. How did the difference in pronunciation actually occur?
Okay, so in this little slide, you can see like, what can I get you? And it's like, a glass of water, please. And excuse me, what? And water? So I'm trying not to be Malaysian yet, so just say water, right? Okay. Could you repeat that? Oh, for Pete's sake, water. Okay. So yeah, so the pronunciation differences, if you think about when English kind of arrived on the shores of America, so I guess I might be wrong here, but probably 17th century, right, was the major kind of influx of English-speaking people. Maybe earlier, slightly earlier, and but people came from all over, right? There's Irish, Scottish, from England, and so so you would have, like you have in Australia as well, some form of dialect mixing and also dialect leveling, where people start to sound more similar to each other rather than different. So
Oh,
um,
that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Dialect leveling.
yeah.
Dialect leveling.
Yes, yeah. So kind of like, if the Scottish person came and the Irish person came and someone from some part of England came, and after a while, because you've been living together, you start adopting each other's features, and one feature becomes more prominent. So like in the US, the R, actually pronouncing the R at the end of words, or before, like in a word like say park, right? Saying the R became more sort of prestigious. It stayed, but in England,
Oh, okay.
that that kind of went away. I mean, you can still hear that in England. It's not like some dialects in England. You can probably still hear that, but the prestige variety of English in the UK does not have a park. You don't want to sound like. Socially, it's not prestigious to say the R in England, but then it is in the US. So it's kind of totally different, which also tells you how these things are so man-made, right? I mean, we make all kinds of judgments about how people sound like and how their accents, their speech patterns, but yet all of this is actually man-made. Yeah.
That's quite interesting about pronunciation, because pronunciations giving an indication of how people are going to be judged. Because now, as we become more globalized, right, it becomes how shall I say? You are treated to English in its multifarious forms. So it's harder for people to, or they shouldn't judge, because you never know, right?
Yeah, but they still do, right? I mean, and that's the first
Yeah.
thing people do when you're on the phone with them, or even face to face. You're kind of already sussing out. Particularly in the UK, but I think that's happening in even in Malaysia now. When you hear someone's like, "Oh, this one is British educated or US educated," or "This one seems to be." A more atas Serani, and that kind, the upper 10 Serani, that kind of thing still happens. So we do it. It's like almost in our psyche to judge people by the way they speak.
They talk. Yeah. True.
And it's a form of othering, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I mean, it is a form of solidarity, kind of marker of solidarity, so that I can take on, and Malaysians, I think we're pretty good at this. We can take on other people's accents, so to kind of show solidarity with each other, and also use the same form to someone else. I can sound very Malay, very Chinese, even if I don't speak those languages. I can sound not to make fun of people, but just to kind of like, hey, I'm in, man, that kind of thing. But also to kind of say, I don't want to associate myself with being in a particular ethnic group or a particular social class. So I will, I just separate you from me by using my very posh English accent, if you like.
And your area of specialty is in phonetics, which is pronunciation and sound. Accents and dialects and all those, is what you study very closely.
I look at the I study the sounds, and more interestingly, trying to look at how sounds are maybe changing, or like in Malaysian English, for example, what's actually happened to our sounds and so on. So if we can go on to Malaysian English now, because Malaysian English is kind of funny, right? Because we've got sort of our grandmother or grandfather or grandparents, to be kind of gender friendlier, okay, as British English. But then if you look at it now with certain groups of speakers, you kind of think, hey, hang on, that person sounds very American, right? So I mentioned the R in like park or party or car, and you hear some younger speakers having that. In this slide, this is actually a Lat's cartoon of my dad, my late father, John Pillay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who was a journalist with the New Straits Times, and during the Commonwealth Games, he was teaching some group of policemen because how to speak English, because they had to deal with deal with people coming from all over for the Commonwealth Games, Commonwealth speaking countries, English speaking countries. Yeah. But yeah, so going back to pronunciation in Malaysian English, we can hear that, that Ven and me, you, we have certain features which are similar that don't make us sound American or British.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are some things which are kind of so British in that probably our generation still says park, but then the younger generation, and it's not all of them. We've done some small studies on this. We find that it's kids going to international schools, kids kind of from the higher socioeconomic group and sort of teenagers onwards who've picking up this Rothic pronunciation, so park rather than park, or car rather than car, and maybe Malaysian English will become Rothic in, I don't know, 50 years time.
Rothic.
Yeah, so when you have the car,
term is Rothic.
Yeah, so some Englishes are Rothic, right? So if you are Scottish, then you would be car. Okay, sorry, Scottish people with that Scottish accent, forgive me. Yeah. So yeah.
So that's your dad. How interesting he was. What's the word for it? He was. How should I say? What's the word for it? He's been immortalized.
Yeah,
Your dad has
lot.
been immortalized in a lot
Yeah.
cartoon.
I know.
Isn't it amazing?
It is,
wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so your dad was John Pillay and your mum was Louis or De Costa?
Yeah, Teresa Celine Lewis. Her mom was
Lewis,
a De Costa, and her dad.
Okay.
Lewis,
And so your studies in English and in
Yeah.
language and linguistics finally kind of like brought you back to your matrilineal ancestry in a sense.
Yes, it
Didn't
did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been fascinated with the fact that, there was this language that my grandparents spoke, but never really had the opportunity to study it until one of my students decided that, she wanted to look at the sounds of Kristang, of Malacca Portuguese. And so, that kind of started me working with her, and I got a grant to document the language. And that's me kind of doing, interviewing people in the settlement, recording that's Philomena Singho, who I work very closely with. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yes, who's doing great work.
Excellent.
Documenting and encouraging people to use the language.
Yes,
I mean, like religiously, almost every day, I think she puts up a video.
Yeah. Hey, Philo, I hope you're watching. And I have to say,
Well done,
there are,
work.
Philomena and Sarah, Philomena Singho, Sarah Santamar. These are people who really, they spend so much of their time, making, like, kind of sharing things, sharing cultural information, sharing the language, and really, I think the community is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. And what other kind of like projects have you done with the Malaccan Portuguese community?
Okay, so all these interviews that I did in the first phase, I think 2011-12. So these were part of a documentation project because I had a grant from SOAS in the UK, and they have
that's a school of Oriental and Asian Studies.
Yeah, that's right. School of Oriental and African Studies or
African
Asian Studies. Yeah, okay. And they have a because I'm always calling it SOAS now. They have a digital archive of endangered languages. So I documented Malacca Portuguese for this archive. So you can actually, it's free to download, just register, and you can actually listen to songs, interviews with people talking about their life as a fisherman, cultural elements, and some of them have actually passed on. So I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to record Papa Joe and Noah Felix. These are icons, musicians.
Icons.
Yes, and and so I'm so happy that they're there, and their family members can actually also download the recordings and they are all annotated, so you can actually read the transcript or the words as well. So I really, enjoyed doing this project. And the picture on the website is actually Intrudu. And if you haven't been to Intrudu, did we have Intrudu this year? Maybe not, because of the pandemic, right? It's usually February, just the Sunday before Lent, and you think that there's Songkran in
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Lent,
Yeah.
but yeah, we got our own, water day, so it's
Right. Right.
yeah. And just be prepared to get
Interesting.
splashed. Okay, just wear your swimming suit. Okay.
Is there
Yeah, so
anything
that was
else coming up?
Uh-huh.
Anything else coming up? In the next month or so? Now that MCO has been relaxed, and perhaps we can
Yeah.
go off to the Portuguese settlement.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah,
yeah.
Really thinking of some things. I think in the next slide, maybe there are some of the other projects that we've been working on, and we've kind of moved on from So we started with the CD, so you can see the picture of Christ there, and that was I worked with the Malacca Portuguese Eurasian Association members, Michael Singho and his
Right.
group of people, and so this whole CD has like music, hymns and prayers in Kristang. And this was the
That-
first thing I did. Using community engagement funds from the University of Malaya. And then we came
Right.
out with the book, which is in the center of the slide. And that book is like for you to learn. So it's almost like a course book. And then, because everyone's got a smartphone, you see that little book there, BPM, that's Bibe Port
Yes.
Malacca, or Portuguese Malacca. That is an app.
Okay.
Down. If you just look for Bibe Port Mal, you can look for it on your either on Google Play Store or your Apple Store.
Okay.
And it's free to download. The dictionary is still in progress, so if you find any words missing, just let me know. And coming soon, there's 2 books on the top left and right. Again, working with the same group of committed people, Michael, Sarah, Philo, and the children of Tropa de Santa Maria, Sarah's group of kids. The drawings, the illustrations are by the children, and so we've got a children's book coming up based on the song Nina Boboy. Don't ask me to sing it, okay? Whatever few viewers will leave the show now, okay? Yeah. So and this
we'll
is
get James to sing it with you.
Yeah, exactly. James is on. So this book, this children's book, is like based on Nina Boboy, illustrated by the children. So parents can read this book to their children, and it's trilingual to reflect our multicultural, our multilingual backgrounds. It's also got Malay and English, and children who can read can also pick up this book. So hopefully this is in progress now. We're just editing, proofreading. So by the end of this month, we should already have this book. And this, I have to say that this book, the other book, Portuguese Malacca, is like a resource book that you can use together with the children's book. So if you want to know more about the community, then you can actually get that book as well. So more info, I'll post on my Facebook, and I'll let Serani Sembang know as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we're very happy and this project actually came about working with academics from other universities, and also a group called the Free Linguistics Conference people, Dr. Amama Bob and Professor Leslie Barrett. They were very instrumental in pushing me to come up with other ways, and involving not just the adults but the children, so that the children also
Right.
have a stake in their culture and their language. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And the next slide is
Okay. Yeah. So as I said, we started with the usual, CD book. Then we moved on to a mobile app and the children's book. So involving the children. Another project that involved the children a lot. And honestly, when we first started this project, we didn't realize how involved the children would become. So this is called Language Travels. Again, something that we did with the Free Linguistics Society. And it was where we brought a group of travelers, and they paid for it, just like you'd go on a mini tour. And it was a 2-day, 2 nights, 3 days kind of event. And where Nina Boboy, that's where the book of Nina Boboy came about, because we used Nina Boboy, the children, facilitated by Sarah, Mike, and Philo,
right.
taught this group of mixed group of people from the Philippines, from the US, from Japan, taught them, or even from Brazil actually, taught them the song, to perform the song. So they
Right,
watched
yeah.
the children perform, and then they learned. So they were learning the language, but through a song, and they had to perform. The slide on the left, you can see some of them actually performing, and the children were the judges. Okay, and so we
Yeah.
turned things around, and people could earn some income because it was like a
Yep.
tour, right? But
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
want is a tour that's done by the people themselves, by the community, and where the children can also earn pocket money, because the philosophy is that if you feel that it's important and you can actually make not make a living, but you can get some pocket money out of it, it does elevate, like, oh, my language is actually something that people want to know about.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
culture
yeah,
is something that people want. It's got some value. Now, whether it's you, I know some people would say, oh, you're monetizing language and so on, but I think we have to get real, right? If you want to give people reasons to actually use the language and for the language to survive, sometimes you also have to say that you can link it to an economy, right? And you can be in charge of this economy, not some outsider bringing a group of tourists just to stare at you and look at your houses and say things and buy things which are not even made by you. But you can control it. We have done a cookery kind of competition, where people are learning recipes, but in a different way. So we're thinking of all these ideas. Yeah.
Wonderful,
So-
wonderful,
So
wonderful.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's incredible. I mean, like I think I met you maybe 10 years ago.
Oh my God, it's been that long, Arvind.
I think more than 10 years.
Oh my God, you look the same.
Ah, you mean I
So
look
how
this
did-
old back? I looked this old back then, and
Sorry. So how did you two meet?
It wasn't in a bar. Maybe it was.
yeah, it was. It was at simply. It was at Simply Mel. Joan
yeah.
Marbeck's
That's
book
right.
launch. Joan
Yes,
Joan
yes.
Marbeck is a Christian cultural activist, and she had a book launch, and she had actually I don't know who suggested, but basically I was asked to read.
To read,
Was
yeah.
that the book launch? Yeah.
Yes, you read.
And,
Yes, you read a poem.
I
think.
read, yeah, and I never ever spoken Christang before, but I was shameless.
Yes, and I asked you about it too.
yeah, and I attempted, because just to share with you, Prof. I'm interested in language acquisition, right? So when Joan asked me to do that thing, which was to recite a poem in Christang, and I've never spoken the language before, I used it as a project to find out whether certain theories were correct about language acquisition. Okay, and one of them is that when babies learn a language, they listen a lot before they utter the first words, right? Yep. So I told myself, I'm going to listen to this poem, endlessly. For I think she gave me 3 weeks before the recital. So I just listened to it endlessly without mouthing it. Okay. Just let it feed into my brain. And one day before, I mouthed it. But leading up to it, I was mouthing it in my head. Like how a baby would like imagine saying it. Yeah.
Internalizing it.
Yeah, internalizing it. And so I used that project to explore this idea of how babies learn a language. And apparently somebody said to me, "Oh, we thought you were a second language that you learned Christang." And so I thought like, "Oh, okay."
That's probably me.
Yeah. So it was quite an interesting process for me.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you did a great job of it. Yeah. So that's why we met. Kind of at the bar. I think we were hovering at the bar.
Well, there was a bar, but it was it was a very decent one. not the kind of bars that you and I usually go to, right?
All my secrets are coming out, And
so sorry.
And we haven't even had a drink.
Scandal.
But generally, is it hard? Is the language hard?
Christang?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like any other language that you learn, right? I mean, it depends on why you want to learn it. And and also using it, and that's why also we want to come up with the materials, because using the language is very important, and hearing it. And I think a lot of the problem, like I didn't grow up hearing the language around me on a daily basis, because like Vernon said, a lot of us ended up speaking English as our first languages, as a first language. And so when I go back to the settlement and I'm around people and I can hear it, the sounds like Vernon said, it kind of like it sits and you start following the pattern, intonation pattern. So it's not difficult because it's almost it's phonemic in that sense, and it's not like Portuguese. It doesn't have like a humongous number of vowels to learn or sounds.
Okay.
So if you're a Malay and English speaker, you will not have difficulty with the sounds, and the grammar is also very similar to Malay grammar. So again, if you're a Malay speaker, you will understand the grammar very easily. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so, where would you place yourself in terms of Kristang that you've studied it? Are you able to speak it fluently, or
very badly?
Yeah,
Very badly. Don't ask me to say anything. I have to take out my app and check.
I wanted to say, can you say something?
Ding bong, hello. And how are you? You also know me, Stephanie. My name is Stephanie. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah. So thanks a lot for joining us, taking us a nice little wander through from starting at American, about your heritage first of all, and then going into your area of study, and then looking at American English versus British English, and then Malaysian English. I've always felt that as Serani people, we do have a linguistic privilege of having access to English language, so we have a bit of an advantage. Do you have any advice to give people who might want to, I don't know, I mean, like up their skills in terms of communication and language?
I think the issue is basically if we already came from English speaking homes, and our parents spoke the more standard variety of English rather than or we have the colloquial variety and the more standard variety that you learn in schools, right? But I think that with some people, and this is not just the Seranis, it's like cutting across the board with Malaysians, you end up speaking the more colloquial variety at home, and this kind of happens everywhere around the world. If you learn the language at home, you don't learn the formal variety. Okay. But unfortunately, the formal variety, or rather the standard variety, is also indexed to people of a certain social class. In our case, maybe socioeconomic class, right? Which means that you may speak English, but you may not speak the right variety. And when I say right, not as in right or wrong, but what people out there like employers or gatekeepers expect you to have. So my advice is that, if you want to get into certain industries and certain jobs, and that is that variety that you need to, just like if you needed French, you go learn French, right? So if you know that you needed the standard variety of English to function in that job or in that educational side, for that university, then you need to make sure that you have that variety. Just think of that variety as just another language, because you may speak English, but you may not be able to speak the variety that those people want.
And I think it's important to be aware of those kind of like obstacles that might be put before you, and how you can perhaps rise to overcome them. And I've always felt that reading aloud was a very important skill or practice thing to do, because then you could wrap your lips and tongue and breath around words and be able to articulate better, so to speak.
To sort of hear and feel the
and enjoy enjoy it. Okay, thanks, Prof. Any last words?
Thank you for having me, and happy 4th of July to all the Americans out there.
Yes, wonderful to have had you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
for having me. Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. See you
Nice
again.
to meet you, Ren. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that was Prof. Steph, the famous Prof. Steph, who does a lot of work with the Christian community in Malacca, and who's quite a dynamic academic. I've seen her in action in some of her talks, and it's always very interesting and full of energy and quite exciting. Yeah. Yes. So,
Yes.
shall we take a bit of a break, commercial break, and come back and
Oh yeah, we
see
got
what
one
we
more,
have?
right?
We have one more. Well, it might not work, so I might have to abandon it, but we'll see after the commercial break.
Okay.
Let me see how it goes. Yeah. Okay, I'm still stuck here trying to work this out. Just give me a few minutes and let me see if I can do this.
Alrighty.
Basically, yeah, we are supposed to show pre-recorded segments of somebody from California who was our very first ever American-born Serani,
Yep.
who lives in San Diego. She joined Serani Sembang in 2003, so I've known her for 17 years. And let me see, part one, part two. Okay, I'm gonna see if this works.
Not happening.
Not happening. Not happening. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Because Margie Calloway is a descendant of Francis Light and Martina Roselles, and
Yeah.
she's never been to this part of the world. But through Serani Sembang, she connected with people whom she saw as her own tribe, and she talks about
Okay.
how her mother was a Serani woman who married a Scotsman, I think. So, and Margie Keller is, you could say, 1/4 Serani, and her brothers and sisters passed as whites in America. So she used to be teased for being Asian. And now she passes as whites because as she's grown older, she became less Asian and more white looking. And she talks about that. And she did say that when she connected with the Serani Sembang community in the early 2000s, she just felt like she had found home, because it was people sharing stories that she was so familiar with. And I thought it was really kind of like moving listening to her share those thoughts and those memories and remembrances of her mother's stories to her. So she'd never been to Malaya, but just the stories that she heard from her mother made her feel so connected to the community at Serani Sembang. So yeah, but never mind. I won't play that pre-recorded segment now, but I will try and source it out and put it up on YouTube and then send it out through the website and stuff. So if you're interested in these stories, just keep an eye on the Serani Sembang channel on YouTube. And a lot of our programs are actually quite long. So I'm going to be chopping them down into bite-sized TikTok segments, if you know what I mean, for our shrinking attention spans, right?
Yeah.
And that will be happening as I figure out how to make my way through this new venture called the Serani Sembang World Live Webcast. Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll say goodbye because it's already kind of like, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Long show.
Not too bad.
But like I said,
Not too bad.
yeah. Yeah, well, shorter than last week, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to be chopping the episodes down into bite sizes. So stay with us, subscribe to the channel, give us feedback, like, share, viralize. Yeah. And any last
Yes.
words on Independence Day? Well, American Independence Day. Now that you're
No.
married to,
But I'm not the American one.
you're not the American one, yeah. You're independent of the American one.
Yes.
So you
Independent or dependent?
independent. Well, you were the one who went up to him, right?
Independent.
You chatted him up, right? Power. Yeah, very proud that you did that. Okay. Okay, so take care, and I guess
Okay,
we'll
you
sign
too.
off. Yeah,
Good
take care. I'll
job.
see you soon. Good job to
Okay.
you too. Thank you. Yeah, all in
Bye.
good fun. Bye bye.